All right, let's talk with the founder of the Truth Gazette, Brilyn Hollyhand. Brilyn, good to have you back at Victory News.
Greg, happy Friday. Thanks for having me back.
And happy Friday to you. Now, COVID activists are raising worries of everyday people. Are we headed for masks and lockdowns? And if so, will Americans resist it this time?
Well, Greg, we're just a few months away from one of the most important elections in our country's history. So, of course, there's a new variant. Of course, they're bringing back COVID back up. Of course, they're mentioning lockdowns again. Just like, Tim just said, of course, there's fear porn. Again, Joe Biden just said a few minutes ago before we came on this program that he encourages all Americans to take this new vaccine to beat this new variant. A friend of mine had his high school football game tonight canceled in South Carolina over a rise of COVID cases. I've been traveling on flights all week, and for the first time in 2 years, I saw airlines encouraging others to wear masks again. It's an election season again, so of course there's this magical spike in cases. Greg, do you remember the last time that this COVID propaganda emerged? It was the midterms last fall. I don't know if you believe in coincidences, Greg, but I don't.
It's interesting how this disease picks its days in which to fall. All right, Donald Trump finally returned to Twitter, now called X, with this post of his Georgia mugshot and the statement, "Election interference never surrendered." Now, former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard shared her thoughts on the wrongdoing of the Biden administration. Here it is.
As we can see, all of these indictments, count after count after count, being thrown at former President Donald Trump, is clearly an effort to divert his focus away from the campaign and towards fighting on multiple fronts in these lawsuits, and to completely drain him and his campaign of resources.
So has the Department of Justice disqualified itself from fulfilling its sworn duties by attacking a political opponent while protecting and a standing president?
Absolutely. First of all, it's great to have Trump back on Twitter. He's definitely been missed. But what we saw last night before his, reemergence to Twitter was an international embarrassment. Greg, we truly live in a banana republic. And, the Biden regime locked up the front runner of the opposition party because he's beating their candidate in general election polling. They took this mugshot in Atlanta on his fourth indictment, fourth time being arrested, planning to use this to hurt him, to scare away independent voters. But Trump's team flipped that on them, used it for fundraising, and used it to reactivate his Twitter account. So I think this backfired on Fani Willis.
Okay, you mentioned on social media that Donald Trump isn't even the first actor from the movie Home Alone 2 to take a mugshot. You want to clarify that?
Yeah, sure. So I saw this on Twitter this morning, and I had to get a good laugh out of the situation. What do Macaulay Culkin and Trump have in common? Well, they both had mugshots taken, and they both starred in Home Alone 2. So it's pretty good to make light of the situation in some ways.
Well, that will certainly change the Christmas season when we watch those again. Brilyn, you had the privilege of interviewing the Republican primary slate of candidates at the debate. I want to know who impressed you the most coming out of that event.
Yeah, sure, Greg. I spent my week in Milwaukee. I got back late last night just in time to be back as a high schooler this morning in classes and to make up some missed work. My reaction to this debate, well, just like I said beforehand on another program, Vivek Ramaswamy was a clear frontrunner. He was the breakthrough winner of the night. This was really his first chance to speak directly to American voters. You've got a candidate with zero name ID that came into this race that's now polling second, third place. I think he was the breakthrough candidate. You see, DeSantis did decent. You had some other candidates that did decent, but I think he'll be the only candidate that really sees a surge in poll numbers.
Okay, now you said something to me before we went on the air, and I'm gonna put you on the record with it. You noticed people watching something and doing something. What was it?
Yeah, sure. So obviously it's a 2-hour long debate. Right at the beginning, when Brett Baer and Martha McCallum, welcomed everybody to the debate stage, my phone notification went off. It was Tucker Carlson posting, his interview with Donald Trump. So I saw several people in the rows in front of me watching Tucker Carlson's interview with Donald Trump that's now hit 200 million views in less than 24 hours. It's crazy.
Interesting. Where can we get more of your perspective and analysis on the news?
Absolutely. Your audience can follow me at Brilyn Hollyhand, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, or go to my website, thetruthgazette.com.
Brilyn, thank you so much. Have a great year in school this year. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Mike?
Greg, the House Oversight Committee announced on